Hey guys, it's Brett. Thanks for stopping by my channel. So, a lot of stuff that I kind of wanted to cover today because I haven't been on for a while and there's so much that's been going on between the crush of book awards that are starting, as well as some book mail. So yeah, I'm going to dive right in and I might ramble a bit. And so hopefully you'll stick with me. So the first thing I'm going to talk about really quick is what I am currently reading. Two things. The first is, which I know brought before, The Deluge by Stephen Markley. I'm reading this with about 12 people over on Instagram, and actually some people from here, I think, too. We're roughly halfway through this almost 900-page book. It's fantastic. It's so not what I was expecting this was going to be. You know, Stephen King had blurbed this and said it's more terrifying than like The Stand because it's real. And so I don't know. I think going into this, I was expecting something almost leaning into more, I don't want to say fantasy, but you know, horror. And it's horrific, don't get me wrong, but for not the reasons you think. So first of all, it took him almost 13 years to write. He started this before his previous novel, Ohio, and then came back to finish it, was updating it as it went along because some of the things that he was writing about were coming to fruition and he had to update things. At any rate, it's a staggering work. You know, it's quite a large cast of characters. Starts in around 2015, goes up through, I think, 2034. And because of politics and global warming, what he imagines would ultimately happen to the world. And it's truly, truly, truly frightening. I said, like, I've just got to the halfway point, and this has reached the tipping part of like going up to the edge of the roller coaster, and you could see the edge before you start to descend down into utter chaos, and that's where it is right now. There was a sequence, and I'm going between this and listening to it on Scribd. There is a sequence when Los Angeles literally gets burned to the ground, which has made me rethink how quickly I want to get out of this city. Oh my God. So, you know, it's, there's no monsters, there's nothing like that. It's just climate change and the inaction and the political gridlock and so much of what we're seeing in the media right now, it's all in here and it's truly, truly, truly frightening. So I'm going to get off this, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book. The second thing, which I'm about 120 pages in, I started this on Sunday, is the Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. Thank you, FSG, for this gifted copy, which is a fictionalized biography of a woman known as X, who is an artist, written by her lover, who, as she's investigating, or I should say she's gathering information on X about her past, she begins to learn all these things about her that she didn't actually know, and has, from the blurb, is coming to find out that this woman that she had been in love with was probably far more dangerous than she actually knew. So it's fun. I don't know. I can't say, oh my God, I'm loving it. I'm totally interested in it. She takes a very interesting tact, and at the start of the book, it's explained that in the late 40s, early 50s, the United States had been segregated, with the South being walled off from the North. And within the walls of the South, it was effectively like the Handmaid's Tale, in terms of religious persecution, all of it. But then that wall comes down, and it is down in present day. But it's just an interesting side path in the rest of this book. So I'm enjoying this, interested to see where it goes. All right, so then the other thing I wanted to briefly touch on is the Aspen Word shortlist was announced. This was cool for me because I actually read all of the shortlist this year. So I had my own opinions, and actually I picked the 5 that I thought it was going to be. 4 of the 5 I guessed correctly, and I got a massive prize. I didn't get anything, however, kind of cool. So these were the 5 that were chosen, and these were, I'm going to show you right now, the 4 I picked correctly. One is The Haunting of Hajji Hotak by Hemilian Kochai. Loved this book. Short stories. Truly an inventive and amazing writer. Loved this. The Consequences by Manuel Munoz. Again, beautiful book. Short stories all around immigrants, both legal and illegal, in the Los Angeles area. And fantastic writer. So glad that I'm getting to know him, or have gotten to know him, because he's terrific. How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. Adored this book. I would say if you're an audio person, absolutely do yourself a treat and get this on audio. You will feel like you are listening to a one-woman show. It's just amazing production values, fantastic. Really like this. Calling for a Blanket Dance by Oscar Hokeah. It follows one. This is about a family that's half Mexican and half Native American, but it really follows the son, Ever. You learn about him through his entire life, through the other characters, and each story really follows another character until the final story, which is Ever's. I thought it was an interesting way to tell the story. Again, really beautiful writing. So I was really happy to not only be exposed to Oscar, but I was really glad this is on the short list. The last book I no longer have, which is All This Could Be Different by Thankam Matthews. I liked this book a lot. I mean, I remember enjoying it and thinking it was completely readable. My only issue with the book is I just didn't feel like it stood out more than some of the other books on the list. It was extremely readable, engaging characters. I don't know, I just didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't blow my, blow my brains out. It didn't blow my socks off. Put your own description in there. So that was that. The last thing, so the other things that have come out also in the meantime are the Women's Prize, Long List, and today the International Booker Prize Long List. I'm going to start with the International Booker Prize. I didn't read this list last year, and I don't know that I will this year, partially because I'm a little burned out just by going through the Aspen Word's long list. I'm going to watch it and see what ends up on the short list, and I may end up reading that once the short list gets announced. And I might almost do the same for the Women's Prize long list. There are some things on there that I've already read, such as Glory, but there are other things I own, like Trespasses, and there are a few things that I thought, oh, that looks really interesting, that I went immediately into Pango, my go-to, to see if I could find them in there, and I did find some of the books in there, and I ordered them. So as I get those and read those, I will share those with you guys. However, I don't know enough of them comprehensively to go over through them now, and there are other people like Simon Savidge, who I know extensively went through the Women's Prize long list, and I would check him out with his mom. All right, so I have a massive pile of book mail, which I don't know why it's so collected. And I'm really trying to make a very conscious effort not to spend money. That's why, again, I've been buying things from Pango, because I've been selling books, and then with the sales of that, I've been getting more books, which is kind of how I'm justifying without actually spending outright cash. So I'm going to show you what I got, but all that to say, some of these are like Book of the Month Club and other of that. And I've narrowed this down. I'm not going through everything with you today. I've just picked select things that it sounded particularly interesting to me and hopefully to you as well. So the first is The Heroines by Laura Shepperson. This is a Greek story. I'm just going to read you this blurb. In Athens, crowds flock to witness the most shocking trial of the ancient world. The royal family is mired in scandal. Phaedra, young bride of King Theseus, has accused her stepson, Hippolytus, of rape. He's a prince, a talented horseman, a promising noble with his whole life ahead of him. She's a young and neglected wife, the youngest in a long line of Cretan women with less than savory reputations. The men of Athens must determine the truth. Who is guilty and who is innocent. But the women know truth is a slippery thing. After all, this is the age of heroes and the age of monsters. There are two sides to every story, and theirs has gone unheard until now. So I think it sounds really good. I think it's a courtroom drama set in Crete. Sounds fascinating. Okay, next up is a Book of the Month selection, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I got this because I'd seen the book described somewhere else as an on-seas adventure. It, for some reason, sounded interesting to me, and then it was on Book of the Month Club, and I was like, I'll try that. Completely not putting it together that the author of this wrote one of my favorite trilogies, which is the City of Brass trilogy, which if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it if you're into young adult fantasy. It's fantastic. Great storytelling. So now that I've got it, I'm really, really excited to start it. And like, what a fantastic cover. And now I'm bummed because there's so many editions of this that have like sprayed edges and all the works, which I shouldn't be getting anyway and spending the money, but you understand. So I think it sounds great. It's kind of an adventure on the high seas with pirates, etc., etc., etc. This came yesterday from MCD Books, so thank you for this, which is Ivy Pochoda's latest, Sing Her Down. I didn't read Ivy Pochoda's previous book and heard Wonder Valley and heard great things about it. This is described as No Country for Old Men meets Killing Eve, which is a delicious and fascinating combination. And it's blurbed, I will tell you, by Dennis Lehane, who's one of my favorites, who says it's a thoroughly entertaining, mean as a snake modern Western. Sing Her Down hits like a shotgun blast. So beyond that, I don't know much about it, but this will be out on May 23rd. So I'm going to try to read it before then. I will let you all know, but sounds really good, really interesting, great cover. Confidence Man by Rafael Franklin. This came out this week. This is about two scammers who are also on again, off again lovers. His name Confidence Man. Men, ha ha ha. At 17, Ezra Green doesn't have a lot going for him. He's shorter than average, snaggletooth, internet addicted, and halfway to being legally blind. He's also on his way to Last Chance Camp, the final stop before juvie. But Ezra's summer at Last Chance turns life-changing when he meets Orson, brilliant and Adonis-like with a mind for hustling. Together, the two embark on what promises to be a fruitful career of con artistry. But when they try to pull off their biggest scam yet, New Life, a corporation that promises its consumers a lifetime of bliss, things start to spin wildly out of control. Searing and charming with the suspense of the talented Mr. Ripley, love that, the decadence of The Great Gatsby, and the wit of Succession. I mean, Confidence is a story for anyone who knows that the American dream is just another pyramid scheme. Doesn't that sound great? Next up is A Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels. This is the third book by Janice Hallett, who wrote The Appeal. I have all of these books now. and have not read one of them. So, you tell me, did you like the appeal? Did you like its follow-up? I've heard the appeal is very good. I've heard the follow-up is and so who knows for the Alberton Angels. So these to me are priorities before the year ends to finish this trilogy and have them all done. So I got nothing else about it. There you go. Okay, so next up is Up with the Sun by Thomas Mallon. Thomas Mallon wrote this book, Fellow Travelers, which I haven't read yet, but it is being made into a series on Showtime with Jonathan Bailey and Matt Bomer. So this is his latest, which just sounded so... First of all, I thought this was a biography, and it's not. It's a fictionalized... A novel about a real-life celebrity striver, a poisonously charming actor, and eventual murder victim set in the unforgiving worlds of post-war showbiz and clandestine gay life. So it completely is, I think, written like it's somewhat of a biography, but beyond that, I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds like a really interesting concept. So excited for that. These fictionalized biographies are doing it for me right now. And finally, this just came out, I think, last week, The God of Endings, and thank you to Flatiron Books for the copy of this. It says, by turns, Spenceful and enchanting, this breathtaking first novel weaves a story of love, family history, and myth as seen through the eyes of an immortal woman. I think she's a vampire. Is what I think it is. But I don't think it's, but I think it's a little more lit-based and not, horror book, but I could be wrong. But this is by far one of my favorite covers this year so far. So I'm really thrilled to have a copy of this and to read it. It also is giving me vibes of, do you remember that book, The Historian? A little bit of that as well. So we'll see. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys are all doing great. Thank you again for coming by, and I will hope to see you all soon.